Fantastic. All right, folks, welcome. I would like to thank Miss Jennifer for being with us this evening. Jennifer, you're in Arizona, correct?
That is correct. Just
And
outside of Phoenix.
outside of Phoenix, and I think we found a video about the town you're in. Tell us what's going on. Why, why are we talking today? I mean, and thank you for being here. It's awesome.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm glad to be here and I'll help however I can. We live in a suburban town called Chandler, Arizona. And several years back, I want to say about 10 years now, they put in the Price Corridor, which is all data centers and more of the corporate type stuff. And when they built that, they started building these data centers. And at that time, no one really knew much about data centers. And they just kept promising us that it was going to bring lots of jobs. So, yay, we're excited about that. When in reality, once it's built, it doesn't take that many people to actually run the data centers. So that was kind of an inflated dream. And the thing that happened was they put up notices for the community about these data centers, but it was on the the road on the west side of these data centers where no one who lives in these neighborhoods next door ever go onto. So we missed, some meetings about it and where we could ask questions and that sort of thing. So we didn't understand fully what was going on until after the data centers were already built.
Are we wrong in being out in front of this problem? Is it of a magnitude that we're over exaggerating?
No, you're definitely not over exaggerating, and I wish I had been aware of it before they were actually built. The problem is the noise. People don't think about it, but these chillers run 24/7. And when you live in a warmer climate like, Florida, Arizona, they're constantly running because they have to keep those servers cold. Um, and those chillers come with noise. But there's different ways to measure those decibel levels.
Hmm.
So if you call with a noise complaint, Chandler PD will go out there with their instruments and they're like, nope, it's not above our decibels. But there's different thresholds.
Yeah.
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 I would say just even at a low decimal, if you're listening to that 24/7, 365 days a year, that's like having a bad neighbor that is playing loud music all the time. But you get a break from that because eventually they turn that off. But those data centers never stop.
Exactly. And it's funny you mentioned that. That's how I first came to realize there was an issue. I'm a pretty light sleeper anyway, but one night I'm sitting there and sometimes we can hear concerts over at Wild Horse Pass because it goes over the reservation. And then our neighborhood's like the first one, so it hits our neighborhood, but it's going to end, so no big deal. Well, I'm
Mhm.
laying in bed and I could hear sound reverberating off my walls, and I thought a neighbor's having a party. Okay, no big deal. One night, two nights. Okay, now they're partying a third night. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm driving around trying to figure out where this raging party is. Turns out there is no raging party, but that's when I could hear the data center. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, this is an all the time thing.
Like you said, you called on noise complaints and they went out and they said, well, it reads within the 65 decibel range at the
Hmm.
perimeter of the place, and 65 decibels is okay. Well, 65 decibels in a higher frequency will fade and drop quicker, so it doesn't go as far away from the perimeter. So it's really a pretty accurate reading. But when you get those low
Yes.
decibels, those will travel because they are a longer wavelength and they travel further. How far away were people experiencing this drone from these data centers? I mean, if you were what, a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles?
I was about almost exactly a mile away from it. Um, and it also depends on how the roads are set up, how the sound travels down your neighborhood.
Mm.
I know a lot of the roads that were east-west facing, so the sound had like a direct path. And I lived in a cul-de-sac, so it bounced off
Oh, wow.
the neighboring homes. So a lot of that comes into play too.
What would you say to the people that are listening to this conversation right now that are still on the fence as to whether or not they should trust their local experts with their municipal code versus your experiences?
Yep. So it's the constant noise and you're not able to sleep. And even if you're using, white noise or fans to kind of abate that noise, it doesn't always work. It's constantly there. And even when it's not, you think you still hear it, if that makes sense. But they do have to run the generators for periodic tests, and those are even louder. So even the people who couldn't hear it all the time, they would definitely hear it. And if you're not sleeping well, and you're living with this constant type of stress and noise, it does have physical ramifications such as higher blood pressure, stress, depression, all that sort of thing. So I know in the group that we had, there were some people that it hit harder than others. People with chronic illnesses seem to be more susceptible to it. And again, everyone's a little different. So how you react to it, how your body reacts to it is gonna be different than your neighbors.
And we've been telling people that there's about a 2.5 mile radius from the epicenter of one of these. Are we off on that, do you think? I mean, just I'm saying anecdotally, we don't, we're trying to put together the best
Yeah,
evidence. You've been there. Is 2.5 a safe, or should we be talking less
I,
than that?
I would say 2 to 2.5. Again, it's going to depend on how many structures are there,
Mhm.
how the sound flows. We also know that you can hear it during different times of the year, better or worse. Like in the summer, it doesn't seem to bother us as much, but we're reaching temperatures of 110 or higher. So our windows are closed. We have air conditioner units going. So there's other types of noise that drown it out. But during the winter time, when everybody's windows are open, we don't have the heater or air conditioning going. We don't even usually have fans going. It just pounds right through you.
Or is there anything else that you think that you would like to express to the group that's going to be watching this or to our elected officials?
Um, Basically, for your community, it feels like a David and Goliath situation, but don't give up. Even the small voices can make a huge impact. So don't give up.